Hi guys, this is Simon with Trade and Perform, and I wanted to go over today's trades. Quick note, nothing in my blog, Twitter, StockTwits, none of this should be considered a trading recommendation. Everything we do, everything I look at is with a point of educational purposes and helping struggling traders become successful, consistent, daily profitable traders. So I want to go over a couple of points that occurred today that might or might not help traders out. Hopefully it will. So every day I've emphasized, right, what are the signs of an open drive? We actually, this is actually was an open drive. It just was an ugly open drive, right? We had some, actually some resistance selling in here, but it did eventually open drive and it did come up and test Globex high. I did say prior to the open, now usually I have a zone at Globex high. But I did say today that because of where Globex high was located, that I actually did not like the trade there, and so therefore I chose to pass on it. It would have been a difficult place to take the trade. Could have made it work right in here, perhaps, but almost no rotation down. Also, notice early on, even with the rotations lower, they're barely down. We're talking about a point from the exact peak, a point to a point and a half, right? Very, very difficult to make this stuff work, okay? Once we had cleared Monday's highs, we had traded up to Globex high. There was really no attempt to make a shot at gap fill. NQ at this point was also breaking above its Globex highs. There was a lot of things that said, hey, let's hold up just a second. The other thing I said is I wanted a 10-point stretch intraday for today, right? If you look, this is roughly 1853. If I'm looking for a 10-point stretch, that puts me at 1863. Now, check this out. What this saves me from doing here, by waiting for this trade, is it saves me from getting crushed in all of this. Now, some people might say, well, yeah, you should have gotten long. Well, my particular style of trading makes grabbing momentum trades very, very difficult. Not only that, but for the most part, momentum traders have a very difficult time knowing where the appropriate place is to get in and where to get out. And because of the nature of ES, it can cause a lot of traders to lose money. I spoke to a gentleman earlier today via Twitter. I'm not going to say his name, but he went long right here at 1863 3/4. Now let me tell you, he nailed everything right about a trend day up. He identified it as open drive higher. He identified that we were likely to close at the high of the day, and his goal on this was 1868, which he fell slightly short of, but he still would have had a nicely profitable trade. What I pointed out in that series of tweets was that this rotation down right here killed him. Okay, this is rotation down from peak roughly 18, let's call it 65, right, all the way down to 1859.50. It's a 6-point rotation lower. Had he simply waited for a retest of Globex highs right here, right, he would have easily been able to garner 2 to 4 points, and eventually he would have been able to garner a full almost 8 points to the upside. Now, again, I didn't take Globex on the long side for the same reason I didn't take it on the short side. I didn't like the area. That was a personal choice I made prior to the market opening, and I can live with it. Many days we have not had, because of the fall off, right, we could have easily ended up with just simply a balanced day in here, or a break back down, then a break back above, right? So I try to consider those things in trading when I'm looking at whether I want to take a long or not. I did take a long here, and one of my rules to keep myself safe is a maximum of 25 minutes in the rules, in these 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 minutes. Okay, so at this point, I had several choices. I could just put my stop at swing high and see if the trade would work. I could move my stop to break even, and we actually at this point got down to 1862, and I tried to get out of the 1862, and I just lost my patience one bar before. I'd already been in 30 minutes. I know my personal numbers in terms of hitting a profit point, and I'm usually able to do it within 15 minutes. So when it exceeds and I've given it double the amount of time, my strategy is always the same. I want to protect my stash, my capital that lets me trade these large positions at a that concentrated positions, more important than large positions, concentrated leverage positions that because I can pinpoint price pretty well, they allow me to capture those points. But when the market's not cooperating, I already know I have an open drive higher. I already know I've given it plenty of time to make the trade work, and it just didn't. That's all there is to it. It just didn't work. But what it did let me do is get out flat, right? End up losing no money. I rented time to make the trade work, and I respected my stops, and I followed my trade plan. Those are all big positives. And I got to tell you, if you're a trader, it's important that you mark down what you did right. Even if you didn't get a winning trade, even if you lost money, you've got to mark down what you did right. You've got to keep a positive mindset on your day. For me, as far as that goes, I think in the last 2 days, I've had 3 trades, 2 time me out on my 25-minute rule, and 1 where I actually had the low of the day, and I didn't get filled. You know, all I did was I put it 1 tick too low. I didn't get my trade. So those are three trades that had potential of anywhere from 5 to 10 points each, and I just didn't get them. And you know what I do? I shrug my shoulders, and that's all right, because I know as long as I keep getting good trade location, I'm going to get paid, and my risk is relatively low. And that's what this is about. That's how you survive long term. The other thing that people ask me, and other traders are you getting frustrated with the constant open drives higher? And let me answer that question. In a way, yeah, I am. We're having an extremely large amount of open drive higher. I know a lot of traders that are getting run over in these open drives higher, and it makes it very hard to shift from going, you know, essentially, if you want to avoid having getting ripped on an open drive higher, you essentially have to surrender the first hour. And there's been a lot of first hours where there's actually been good trades. So the question becomes, what is it that you're willing to give up to avoid getting run over? And so the story there is I'm actually willing to give up quite a bit, because I hate digging out of any kind of hole when I can just wait and get great trade location after the first hour, when I usually tend to have good reversals, and I'm consistently stressing this period of the day. The other part of this that I want to stress when I'm working with my coaching clients is that a great deal of my success in trading, the guys that I'm coaching, a lot of their success in trading has stemmed from the mental side of the game, right? Getting prepared in the morning, doing the trade review in the morning, marking out areas on the chart that I'm interested in, and then going through at night and noticing, you know, how small are these rotations, how big are these rotations, staying out of crummy areas to trade like this. This is crap right here, guys. This is almost impossible to make money, and the problem is some afternoons are good and some afternoons are not, but why mess around? Why mess around when we don't know whether it's going to be good or bad, right? You don't know if we're going to have a straight drive down like we did. Look at yesterday's afternoon. Let me give you a perfect example of this. Look at yesterday afternoon. This thing drove straight down at the end of the day and then balanced. How did you know? Why did it not rip up, right? If we look at a prior day's end of the day, right here, this thing tanked straight down, right? Taking a reversal trade out of this. This worked right here, but for the most part, this, if you're trying to hold for the reverse back up, very difficult trading conditions. And so I choose not to participate in that last part of the day. It makes my life much easier. The last thing I wanted to point out, which would have made your day easier, and I encourage my traders to do this every single day, is called something very simple, a trend line. Okay, start from the low, mark it up right there. Okay, you'll notice we fell a little bit below on the close. What do? We gap back above that trend line, and we held. Okay, when you hold, you can see that we continued that process all the way through the day, and then we also had a series. Look at this: higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher lows. We went through a series of balance here, but even through here, all of these or higher lows, right? And then we finally hit a higher high, and we never got to test whether there was a higher low, although I can tell you in after hours we came back here to 1681, which makes sense. This is a very big extension at this point. I won't go into those details. So I'll wrap it up now. I've been 10 minutes in. What I want to leave y'all with is this. Fighting the market doesn't make any sense. This is one of the few trades where I had no exposure to the upside all the way through this. I was caught off guard. I just simply didn't think we would come back this high. Once again, I've underestimated Janet Yellen and her ability to push the market around. And the other part is tomorrow's Fed Day. Now, you can trade Fed Day if you like. If the Fed doesn't say anything, pretty much keeps the story in line, my guess is that we would go higher. It's not for me. I lose so many of my edges on Fed Day that I don't enjoy trading it at all. And so I guess, long story short, is I won't be trading Fed Day. I will be a viewer. I will be working on my spreadsheets and going through and reviewing where I can be improving my performance. But one thing I won't be doing, okay, I've done this for a long time, I've done this for 20 years, and I won't be flipping on this. And there's a reason. Even if other traders can figure this out very quickly and grab the long side of it, without any kind of rotation back to the downside, I actually am quite poor at doing that. And I know that as a weakness in my trading plan. I don't know anyone who's extremely good at it on a consistent basis. And I hate big swings in my equity. I like building consistent, everyday profits. And that's what professional traders do. So, at any rate, y'all have a good night. My name is Simon. My focus is helping struggling traders become consistent, profitable traders so that they can move towards doing this for a living and really accomplish their dream of being a consistent intraday trader. It's a hard skill, but it can be learned. I do believe anybody can learn to be a professional trader and to be a consistent trader. I hope everyone's having a great night. I'll have this uploaded here in a moment, and we'll see you all in the morning for the live market review. Have a great night.